The next 24 hours may be make or break for the LUNC token, as we had a big announcement related to Binance and some data that I want to show you that is really eye-catching at the moment, which indicates whether LUNC will continue this push up the ranks. We can see that currently it is sitting at number 25 if we refresh the page on CoinGecko, which means it actually has overtaken FTT, Chainlink, Bitcoin Cash, Algorand, VET, and for a period yesterday, it was even ahead of Near Protocol and Cosmos. It's kind of been toying with these market caps here at the $3.5 billion range. So a lot of steam coming from LUNC. In today's show, I want to give you all the updates on what is happening currently to verify whether this pump will keep continuing or whether we are going to get a correction in the short term. It's going to be a massive show. Let's get into it. Smash the like button here for this update today. Let's get straight into the show. So I find it kind of crazy that LUNC did overtake overnight near Link, Atom, and FTT, because think about it this way. Last bull run, the Luna token, when it had a lot of utility, when Anchor Protocol was going strong, when a lot of people were bullish on Luna and the product was working with real dApps, the Luna token sat between the 15 and 20 market cap rank for a long time. Until that real extension that we saw in January, the Luna token originally was sitting in this 15 to 20 range, even at times going from 25 to 30 in October to November last year. So that was roughly where it would sit. Now, fast forward to September 2022, after the collapse of Luna, after the collapse of UST, after all the dApps have kind of left the chain to go onto the new chain or onto other chains, the Luna token is now almost at the same market cap ranking that it was last year when Luna actually had real utility. So this is why it's crazy to me, and it's monumental that it actually did break into the top 25 and is still in there if we discount some of the stable coins in the top 5, because we essentially now have a chain that doesn't really have real utility yet, because they still have to fix the tokenomics via this new burn mechanism, but it is still at a similar market cap ranking to what Luna was last year. So it is quite monumental what is happening right now. And there's been a lot of questions that have been thrown my way over the last few days. Like, can this actually genuinely push up into the top 10 now? Because it's currently at a $3.5 billion market cap. And if to reach the top 10, it would only need to effectively 2.5x that market cap to overtake Doge, SHIB, and DOT. So it's a real pivotal moment now for the LUNC token as to whether it is going to hit these levels. And I think there's some data today that I want to show you that gives us an indication as to whether this is actually achievable and whether this is actually possible, or whether it's just going to drop off and this is kind of like the peak for LUNC, or at least the peak in the short term. So let's go through the major announcements that we've got over the last few days. The first thing to note is that the reason we got this next extension upwards, we saw that it got rejected at this 4.8 level and then pumped all the way up to the 0.6 level. That was off the back of the news of the Binance staking wallet. So what happened was Binance transferred 2.5 trillion LUNC tokens. If we look at the LUNC supply, we know it's around the 7 trillion mark. So around 30% of the total tokens in supply were just transferred from the Binance hot wallet to the Binance staking node on Terra Station. And if we go to the Binance staking page, we can see that now 36.12% of the total circulating supply is now in this Binance staking wallet, which they transferred to. We can see a massive spike on Terra Finder as they transferred these tokens across. So that's a bullish sign for LUNC, and that's one of the major reasons we got this pump, because that wallet was not holding user coins. That was fresh liquidity that is essentially being prepped to be staked, and that's one of the reasons why they moved it from their hot wallet to the staking node. So that's kind of crazy that we saw that massive spike, and that's what resulted in a lot of this hype yesterday when the price hit 0.6, because there was a lot of people kind of betting on a lot of those tokens being removed from the circulating supply and being staked, which obviously reduces the total amount circulating. However, if we do look at the staked page, only 7.7% of total LUNC are staked. So it doesn't actually show up on the staking page yet. So this simply could just be one of those events that just kind of, gets a little bit of a community stir and doesn't really reflect on the actual supply and circulation. We need to see what Binance does with those coins, because they can simply just transfer from wallet to wallet and it may be a nothing burger, but that's one of the reasons why we actually did get that massive pump yesterday. And then they had this big announcement that they are going to add the LUNC and USDT trading pairs for margin trading. So now we have spot and margin trading on Binance. They did announce this yesterday that they would add the trading pairs, which was one of the reasons why the market responded so strongly as well. And then they announced that they were going to be doing wallet maintenance for the Terra Classic network. Now, when this first came out, there was a lot of hype and speculation as to whether this wallet maintenance would be showing support for the 1.2% burn, which is obviously the on-chain burn mechanism, which is garnering a lot of hype, as that would essentially burn 1.2% of all LUNC trading volume, both on-chain and on exchanges, if the exchanges accept that burn tax. So there was a lot of speculation once this came out. Turns out that this was just to add the trading pairs. That's why the wallet maintenance was conducted. And then we got an update that they actually will not be supporting the 1.2% tax on margin trading. So this was massive news, and this is the reason why we got this dump after this 0.6 overextension here, because they said that spot and margin trading for LUNC and USTC tokens, as well as relevant services on Binance Earn, will not be affected by this tax burn. So that includes staking through Binance, saving through Binance, and spot and margin trading. So that includes leverage trading. So they are essentially saying here that the 1.2% tax deduction will be applicable to withdrawals only, so not actually trading. Now, we know that this burn is only very effective if the 1.2% tax actually applies to trading, because we can see the trading volume has gone bananas over the past few days. $3.4 billion of trading volume. 1.2% of that means within a month, half of the total Terra Luna supply would actually be burnt. So that effectively would reduce the circulating supply in half if we saw this 24-hour trading volume replicate over a month. But since Binance is the biggest exchange alongside KuCoin, Gate, and Mexi, we would need Binance support in order to facilitate this burn. So it caused a lot of a stir on Twitter, because people were saying, if Binance doesn't support this burn, then, the burn's irrelevant since Binance is the biggest exchange. And then there were some accounts saying we should simply have a governance proposal on LUNC that essentially blacklists Binance wallets or renders those tokens invalid, which is possible to do through a proposal, but you don't want to see that, because that's an intervention of decentralization to the highest degree. And that's not a good look for Luna, LUNC, or any token, or Binance for that matter. So that certainly won't be happening. But what can they actually do going forward if Binance isn't going to support this margin trading? And will that actually affect the price? That's the question. Well, there was some good news for LUNC fans overnight, because in the Discord, we got an update that Binance is now reconsidering this. They said that they haven't stated anything different from what other exchanges have put out. Our team still needs to review and see if the implementation of an off-chain burn is feasible, taking all factors into account. So although they did state in their initial announcement that they wouldn't support this tax burn for spot and margin trading, we did get overnight this update that suggests that they are still potentially looking into it. And LUNC DAO said our sexual favors are working behind the scenes. Binance is investigating whether an off-chain LUNC burn is feasible. What they mean by off-chain here is that because an exchange technically isn't on-chain, it's a centralized entity, all burns that happen on the Binance exchange are happening off-chain, whereas all of the burn that is happening on-chain, so through dApps, DEXs, etc., anything that's happening on the Terra network, that is essentially an on-chain burn. The Terra Luna community has jurisdiction over whether they implement that on-chain burn, whereas you are relying on exchanges to implement that themselves in a third-party way. So each exchange has to make their own decision as to whether they want to burn off-chain or on the exchange. KuCoin came out and announced that they will support the 1.2% tax burn. So have many other exchanges. So now really all the Luna community is waiting on is Binance. That is the last figurehead that needs to approve it if this burn is to be successful. And I think that's why we're seeing some volatility now. Apart from the fact this looks very overextended in the short term, obviously there now is a bit of ambiguity over whether Binance will implement this. And this comes a couple months after CZ had alluded to in one of his tweets that he would come out and support this burn. So that is why this next 48 hours is so pivotal for LUNC, because that Binance acceptance of an off-chain burn is very, very, very important. But what do I think of the LUNC price now? Do I think it still has potential to rally with or without Binance, or do I think that we have gone too far and we're overextended? Just before I answer that question, remember, if you do want to sign up for a ByBit account to trade any crypto, including spot LUNC. You can do so and claim your $4,200 sign-up bonus, link in the description. Also get access to the VIP section of the Crypto Banter Discord, where Sheldon, Kyle, and Bombay Trillionaire give you their daily trades. So make sure you sign up for a link if you want to do any sort of trading and claim that bonus while you're at it, because it's a pretty nice bonus. Get active in that Discord. It's a lot of fun. And obviously you can trade or just trade spot LUNC if you want. It's completely up to you. But yeah, let's get into what I actually think of the future of LUNC right now. So the first thing that I want to say, and this kind of alludes to what I said earlier in the show, is that we are now pushing into deep market cap territory. Now it's in the top 25. It's starting to push this upper echelon of projects that actually have a lot of real utility, like Near Protocol, fantastic project that's implementing sharding. Cosmos got one of the best development kits out there, has a lot of dApps deployed on Cosmos. LUNC actually is built on Cosmos SDK as well. You've got many other great tokens that it's now starting to push, FTT, Chainlink, etc. So we are now fighting with not just meme coins, we're now fighting with projects with real utility. I guess the counterpoint to LUNC being overextended as kind of a project that has hype behind it would be, well, Doge and SHIB are number 11 and number 12, and they're both meme coins. So if LUNC doesn't have real utility yet beyond this tax burn, then technically it could get to rank 11 or 12 off the back of simply trading as a meme, because we know that it's largely being driven by hype right now. It's largely being driven by speculation right now, given that this tax burn doesn't actually implement for another 11 days. So it's September 9th right now. The tax burn would go ahead on September 20th. So this $3.2 billion in trading volume we're seeing today, that's not actually eligible for a burn. And we're not seeing a lot of Luna Classic being burnt until the governance proposal is passed, which it will pass, but that is going to take 10 days to reflect on chain. And then it's also going to take exchanges actually accepting that burn. So I guess right now my major concern in terms of LUNC is not actually price, it's market cap. Because price doesn't actually matter. Like the number on this screen doesn't matter if it's 0.0005 or if it's 0.0002 or if it's 0.01. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is market cap, because that is essentially what is going to make the token difficult to push onwards and soldier upwards in this kind of parabola that we're seeing at the moment. And that's also what can make a token pump easily if it has a low market cap. So as Luna or LUNC, now that it's called that, gets bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of market cap, it becomes harder and harder and harder to push the price upwards. And that's why people saying LUNC getting to $1 is pretty much unfeasible, because that would need to see it essentially crack the top 5 of all crypto. But at the same time, that is relying on this tax burn effectively kicking in and reducing the supply of LUNC tokens enough to be able to counteract its price. So if it hit $1, obviously that means there wouldn't be 7 trillion tokens anymore, because then it would be 20x the size of Bitcoin. It's saying that there may only be, like, let's say 1 billion tokens, and then that would be a lot more feasible for it to hit $1. That would actually just be $1 billion market cap at that point. So people are betting and speculating on LUNC off the back of this burn. The only issue I see with this burn right now is that it would rely on this trading volume staying constant, which we know it won't. It also relies on the price staying constant, which we know it won't. And then it also relies on volume to continuously tick upwards, or at least stay at quite a hefty range in the $1 billion range, which we know it probably won't. I just don't see a reason for this volume to stay above $1 billion a day for an extended period of time, long enough for the burn to have a significant effect, given the fact that once September 20th hits and the burn tax is implemented, then I actually think a lot of hype will probably die down around LUNC. Now, this obviously there's a lot of LUNC maxis in the comments right now, and there's also a lot of haters. So I just kind of want to go through what I'm personally doing, because I can't put words in your mouth. I can't tell you exactly what to do. But I actually did take profits here because I'm very skeptical. I'm becoming quite skeptical of a rally continuing on LUNC's front, because I just don't see in the short term how it could push into the top 15 to the top 10 of the market cap rankings without a significant significant burn, which we just have no proof that will actually occur yet, at least for another 11 days, and at least until Binance gives us a big announcement. So when I look at this chart right now, it just does look overextended to me, and it is trading like a meme coin. Like, it's undeniable. The reason this is pumping is pure speculation, because it doesn't really have anything happening on chain. It's got no development. It's got no dApps. You're essentially just betting on you're betting on a successful burn, and then you're betting on somehow, even if that burn takes place and succeeds, then dApps are going to want to come and build on LUNC, which, as I've said in previous videos, I don't see that to be the case. So we did actually talk about this last week, and for everyone that invested in LUNC at the time of that video, I actually bought some live on the show. You guys are already up a crap ton. You guys are up how much now? I'm actually looking at the wrong token. LUNC. You guys are actually up a lot. We bought at this second spike here, actually a bit earlier than this. We bought down. I bought it 2.2, but by the time of the show came out, it was 2.4, and it was 114% since then. So basically, most of you in the comments are probably up 200, almost, a 2x, 2.5x on your holdings right now. And if you bought even earlier, like I know a lot of you did, then you're probably already up like 150 to 200%. So you guys are up significantly, and I know I was up significantly yesterday, and I decided to take my initial off the table. So what I did was, obviously, I put money in, and I averaged some in at these 3 key levels. I actually took all my original off the table. So let's say, hypothetically, I put in $1,000, and now my holdings are worth $3,000. I took the original 1,000 off the table, and I'm just writing profits now because I don't want any initial exposure to this token, because if it is just ends up being a pump and dump, I don't want to actually net lose. I want to net win. Like, we're in crypto to make money, guys. If you're up, take your damn profits. Like, seriously, this sure, like, is there a 0.000000001% chance at 100x's? Maybe. Like, but that's not enough evidence for me to suggest that we shouldn't be taking profits. So if you are up significantly, take your damn profits. I said this on my tweet yesterday when I tweeted about LUNC. I said, I was up 150%. I decided to take some off the table. And if you're in that situation as well, then definitely start taking some off the table. But what about for you guys that don't have exposure, right? What about for you guys that you can't predict anything? Well, I mean, just go back and watch last week's video, buddy. I think we did predict that at 2 cents or 0.0002, but I don't know about you. You just have to go back and watch that video. We did predict this, and I've been talking about this for a week and a half. It was quite obvious something was stirring with the volume, the build up in hype, and it became a very, very obvious sentiment trade. And a very successful one. So firstly, congrats to everyone that got on this. Like, I've heard some amazing success stories of people making 10, 20x's, because like when you get 150% on spot, it's not just the spot you can make. If you leverage trade this, which was very risky, but I know a lot of you degens did, then those gains were potentially 10 to 15x, even 20, 30x in some cases. So people made a crap ton of money off this, and seriously, take your profits if you can. But, does this mean this will keep continuing? And does this mean that if you're not already in the token, you should buy some? Well, that becomes a question that's a lot harder to answer. Honestly, at this current level right now, I wouldn't be longing. I would not be longing. If I was in a position, I'd be taking profits. If you did desperately want to long, like you really, really, really want to long, and you really, really, really believe in this burn, then the level would probably be, let me get my horizontal ray tool, probably be this next high, because that's the next clear level we could see. This is just so overextended that the EMAs aren't even applicable. The fair value gaps are barely applicable. Like, we're actually in a gap at the moment. And it's even very hard to see where the main liquidity lies on our volume indicators, because the major volume that kicked in was at the beginning of this rally. And then we got a significant amount of volume between 2 and 3 there. So it's like that could potentially be the next accumulation zone if we are being picky. But since this is a hype coin, they really tend to come down, retest, and then moon again. What is more likely is either we have a short-term retest to continue this bullish pattern, or we break some of these key levels, and then that's done. The hype's gone, because once the hype's gone with the hype token, the hype's gone, and it's very hard to get it back after that point. So if you are very, very keen on buying, then this 45 level, I think, could still be a decent zone, because that is still technically a bullish pattern, because we can come down, retest, go higher, retest, continue in this step ladder formation here. That's definitely an accumulation zone you could look at. However, I'm not doing that because I got my entry much earlier and now I'm in profits and now I've taken my initial out. Now I'm just riding this. So the other option then becomes to actually invest in USTC because this hasn't run to the same extent that Luna Classic has. If we look at Luna Classic, it's up, what's it up? 486% from the end of August, whereas USTC from that exact same date is only up 94%. So we do know that USTC is the next kind of step in their phase. So first they're doing this burn mechanism, then they're doing their USTC utility push, which is trying to get USTC back to some kind of peg. Let's see how that goes because it's currently at 5 cents. But that means that this is still lagging significantly behind the Luna token itself. So if there is a buy here and you're tossing up between buying Luna or USTC, then I think USTC is the much better buy in terms of risk reward considering it hasn't run yet. But I still wouldn't call this a buy in absolute terms. I would say this is a buy if you wanted to rotate some LUNC profits into USTC. I'd say that's probably the play. I'd say if you're putting fresh capital into this, it'd be extremely difficult, extremely difficult to actually predict how this could possibly play out because this token isn't the one that has the hype behind it. This isn't the token that has the burn. This is the token that may in the future somehow have utility, and that there's too many ifs in that sentence for me to actually put fresh capital into this. But if you had $1,000 in LUNC and you were taking, let's say, 50% off the table, then maybe you put 10 to 20% of that 50% into USTC as a rotation play. Because I do see this potentially pumping because of the LUNC narrative. So USTC is definitely an interesting rotation that I would consider. But overall, no, I'm not buying right now. Overall, yes, I've taken profits. And overall, I am extremely skeptical about this continuing to pump. I'm sorry to break the hearts of all the LUNC fams out there because, you guys, I know some of you are expecting top 10. A lot of you are expecting $1. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening, guys. It's just, it would take an absolute monumental amount of volume for this to pump anywhere close to a 10x from here. So, given the fact it's a 26 market cap, you'd be relying on a significant burn for that to happen. So that's my opinion on LUNC at the moment. I think if you're in a trade, take profits. If you do want to buy, you've got my levels. I wouldn't recommend it, but you've got my levels nonetheless because some of you are bullish on it. And the USTC rotation play is definitely the next one I'd look at. So I know some of you have questions, so I'm going to head over to Instagram now to answer questions on my live. Your loss, okay, just quickly, people saying, oh, you have no faith, you're going to lose. Let's just get this straight real quick. I'm holding a moon bag. Hold on, everyone, hold on. I'm holding a moon bag. I took profits. I'll continue to take profits, but I still have exposure to this thing, and that moon bag I'll never sell. So of course, let's say I put $1,000 in, it goes to 3,000. Okay, I took my 1,000 off the table. Now I'm riding risk free. Now I've got 2,000 in. Doubles again. I take another half off the table. So now I've made 3,000, but I still have $2,000 exposure. So if it did go to $1, I still have $2,000 exposure, which would equal $7 million if it hit $1. So let's not forget here that it's not my loss at all, buddy. I'm still going to be heavy in profits, and I can tell you I've got more than $1,000 in. I'm just using that as a hypothetical example. So if it does pump, I'm laughing as well. I just can't be, I just can't give crappy advice. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but I can't afford to come on the stream here and tell you guys to ape into a token that's just pumped a 5x in the last week. That would be total lunacy. And I think I would have zero credibility if I came on and said that. It would be ridiculous. So that's the reason why I'm saying take profits. It's not because it can't pump. It definitely can. In fact, I think this isn't the high. I think it could still definitely go higher. And I've got exposure. I've got exposure in case that happens. So I've got exposure. So whatever. If it pumps, it pumps. We're laughing and we're buying mansions. But if it doesn't, I've taken profits and I've made money either way. So either way, it's a win-win. This is the beautiful thing about this coin right now. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. We're either up or, we're going to be multi-millionaires. But yeah, if you guys do want to continue chatting with me and ask me any questions, I will be going live on Instagram right now to answer any questions you guys might have. And of course, yeah, you got to hedge risk. It's ridiculous. You can't just have You can't just keep all your exposure and not take any profits. Did we learn anything off the bull run in 2021? If you're not taking profits now and you're up at 2x, you learned nothing from that entire year. You literally learned nothing. Like, you have to start practicing what we learned. If you're not practicing what we learned, then literally you may as well have not lost money last year because you haven't learned anything, right? So that's essentially how I view things. But anyway, I'm going live on Insta now. In fact, I am live simultaneously. So there's a link in the description to join me over on Instagram. And yeah, we'll pick up this conversation there, and I can have a chat with you guys. But yeah, cool. All right, I'll see you in the next ones. I'll see you next week or on Insta or wherever I see you on Twitter. And yeah, I hope everyone has a nice day and enjoy those damn profits. I might go out for a nice steak dinner tonight and treat myself because I'll be honest, like, it's pretty nice getting these gains in a bear market. I'm not gonna lie, pretty damn nice. So yeah, everyone enjoy those profits. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.